Right now on the National Weather Desk, a tornado outbreak leaves a trail of destruction across Mississippi. Homes and cars are destroyed. Multiple people are injured. Evidence grows that this year's El Nino could be the strongest in recorded history. See how hurricane hunters are getting ready for the upcoming season. Why a whale's return to Washington state shores is good news for the species. And how a warming climate is making airplane rides bumpier than ever.
From our nation's capital, this is the National Weather Desk.
Good morning and welcome to the National Weather Desk. I'm Angela Brown. More than 1,000 buildings are damaged after tornadoes hit southwest Mississippi overnight. Search and damage assessments are still ongoing at this point this morning, but blocked roads are complicating all of these efforts. Many people were trapped in their homes. The number of injuries is still unclear. At least one mobile park was flattened. The Storm Prediction Center received 14 tornado reports just in Mississippi yesterday. Reed Binion has more.
55 southbound. It's crazy.
Multiple tornadoes ripped through Mississippi overnight, leaving a trail of destroyed homes and injured victims in their wake.
That sucker came right through there, bro. We can't even get through here, bro.
One massive twister toppling trees and blocking parts of a highway.
It knocked all this down. Ain't no power lines or nothing out this way.
The storms also knocked down power lines, with tens of thousands of homes and businesses across Mississippi without power as of late Wednesday, according to poweroutage.us. Collapsed trees also blocking a roadway next to a hard-hit mobile home park. There were also reports of residents trapped, but dangerous conditions slowed rescue efforts, authorities said. The extreme weather impacted large portions of the South, including thunderstorms, and at one point a flood watch in place for more than 10 million people. Parts of Alabama saw severe flooding. In Montgomery Wednesday, the State House had to be evacuated because of flooding during local storms. This as other regions struggle to recover from severe weather in their communities.
Coming back in, we still had 6 inches of water around the house.
Residents in parts of Wisconsin picking up the pieces as water levels start returning to normal after last month's flooding.
At one point, there was 3 feet of water in there from looking at flood lines.
I'm Reed Binion reporting.
And those same areas could be in for more severe weather later today. The Storm Prediction Center issued a level 2 risk for the 2.5 million people who live in portions of South Georgia, Southeast Alabama, and North Florida, including the Panhandle. Widely scattered severe strong storms will be capable of producing damaging winds and also maybe even a couple of tornadoes. Evidence is growing that one of the most powerful El Nino events in recorded history could form in just a few months. New European weather data shows water temperatures in the central Pacific Ocean could be more than 5 degrees above average later this year. That would exceed the threshold set for a super El Nino. If that happens, there will be a tremendous impact on worldwide weather. In some places, temperatures could soar. Others will see drought or floods, and even some food shortages. Well, lightning is one of nature's greatest killers. Meteorologists Dante Ricky and Brandon Stover discuss the dangers of lightning and why you should find shelter when thunderstorms approach.
When it comes to thunderstorms, lightning is extremely dangerous. It's hotter than the surface of the sun.
Yeah, it does not take a severe thunderstorm to be dangerous. You know, we can't stress that enough. You don't have to have a tornado or large hail or damaging winds. Lightning by itself can be extremely dangerous.
Friction, the rubbing of cloud droplets, rain droplets within the cloud creates opposite charges. That charge connects to a surface on the ground and leads to a heating up or expansion of the air at a rapid pace. There's a general formula we use to kind of tell how far away that strike of lightning was when we hear thunder.
That's exactly right. When air is heated up rapidly, it pops. So you get the lightning first and then the thunder thereafter. And the thermal profile, the temperatures dictate how fast that sound wave actually makes it to your location.
Interesting enough, that sound travels faster on a warmer day than a cooler day. So in the wintertime, that thunder might sound a bit delayed from when you see lightning, but it's an important fact that it's all dangerous. If you hear thunder, move indoors. And if you see lightning, move indoors and remain there until 30 minutes after the last recorded event at your location. Unfortunately, lightning is nature's #1 killer. Some activities, including fishing, happen to be very high up on that list.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, you've got the rod in your hand, that's part of it, but you're also out open water. You may be on a boat, so that really increases your odds of getting struck by lightning.
Doesn't mean you can't go fishing. It just means that you have to be prepared. You always have to have a way to stay safe when severe weather strikes.
Well, whale watchers in Washington state are celebrating the return of a well-known humpback whale, affectionately known as Big Mama. And this time she is with a calf. Scientists say this is good news after a concerning number of malnourished gray whales have washed ashore in that state. Meteorologist Stella Sun has more.
Gray whale researchers with NOAA say this is a big deal. They describe the baby calf as plump and energetic, which gives them hope after 16 gray whales have washed ashore on Washington coasts in recent months. Just off of the North Washington coast.
You see a little tail with mom's tail there was the first thing I saw. No, right. Yeah, that's great.
Great news about gray whales.
I'm fascinated by them at all times.
Drone video from NOAA shows a healthy calf swimming next to its mother.
It's a nice little plump calf.
Researchers say seeing a plump calf gives them hope after 16 gray whales have washed ashore this year.
The fact that it's a plump calf bodes well, because I think you see a lot of the whales that are the skinny calves that die because they're starving. They don't have this food.
Experts say gray whales breed in Mexico, migrate up the coast in the spring to eventually feed in the Arctic Ocean and Bering Sea.
Mainly they're taking big scoops of mud and sifting through it for crustaceans.
NOAA says climate change is causing sea ice to melt in the Arctic. That impacts the crustaceans, leading to less food for the whales to eat.
So we got to really be aware of how they're doing, and can be an indicator of how everything else is doing out there.
While things have been looking gray for this marine mammal,
gray is a good color.
scientists say this feels like a bright spot.
Definitely seeing a little calf gives me hope.
Scientists estimate in 2016 there were around 27,000 gray whales. Their most recent estimate in 2015 suggests there are anywhere from 11,000 to 14,000 gray whales left.
Well, spring means time to get seeds in the ground. After that happens, there's so much that goes on before those plants actually poke through the ground. Meteorologist Veronica Johnson has more.
Every spring, millions of people plant seeds. But inside each one is a level of science that most never see. At Burpee, seed breeder George Ball says a seed is far more than something you put in the ground.
You can think of it as like God's microchip or nature's microchip. It's really got everything in it, and there's more that's known about the human brain than is known about the seed. It's like a little miracle.
The tiny package holds the genetic instructions for an entire plant, roots, stems, leaves, flowers, and eventually the next generation of seeds.
The seed produces the plant produces the flower becomes the fruit, and that's where the seed is inside the flower.
Not every seed makes the cut. Before seeds even reach a gardener, they're carefully screened for size, strength, and viability, looking for the best chance at successful germination.
We very carefully process it. In other words, we're looking for broken ones. We're looking for ones that are too big, not good. They have to be too big. You want too small, not good to be too small, because all the endosperm and things are squished. We take out chipped, scraped, broken, anything like that. And so, but there's a perfect size for the seed to have high germination.
A seed's first growth isn't above the ground. It starts below the surface, building its root system first.
The seed doesn't grow up. The seed grows down. It goes into the soil, and that's because this plant is going to be there the rest of its life. So it has to have a good foundation in the ground. And then it starts to grow up. So the radicle goes down, and then the whole plant goes up.
From the food we eat to the oxygen we breathe, Ball says seeds remain one of the oldest and most important life systems on Earth.
This is evolution. This is evolution at work. We're looking at evolution. We're looking at the creation of oxygen. We're looking at, the first things that won the photosynthesis war, you might say, and created the oxygen and created photosynthesis and created an organism that can make its own food, and at the same time it can reproduce itself.
And coming up on the National Weather Desk, we'll find out why officials in California are warning this year's wildfire season could be worse than most. And we'll get an up-close look at how hurricane hunters measure the strength of hurricanes. And as we head to break, we have some views for you over Bryce Canyon National Park.
I'm meteorologist Charlie Lopresti with a look at the Northeast. We're tracking a brighter day in the Northeast today with most towns topping out in the 60s. Low to mid 60s will do it. Notice a partly sunny sky. There could be a few showers in northern New England and western parts of New York, but today's going to be a bright day. More pop-up showers and perhaps a few sprinkles will arrive on Friday. It's a little bit cooler though. Temps will be in the 50s, so it's seasonably cool to end out the work week. Our next round of steady rain, that should be arriving on Saturday.
I'm Chief Meteorologist Gerard Javali. Here's a look at the mid-Atlantic region. The cold front continues to move out, and that means we'll likely see clouds moving out with it. So some sunshine towards your afternoon expected across the region with very little rainfall expected between now and even through Friday. Saturday is our next chance to roll through with another disturbance. So temperatures will start to rebound after a slight cool down into the 60s for highs for your Thursday. Friday is likely to bounce back up a few more degrees, low to upper 60s, even 70 degrees possible.
I'm meteorologist Lauren Oleski with a look at your forecast for Thursday afternoon. Temperatures in the 70s across the deep south, but 80s and 90s down in Florida. It is going to get very hot. This is all under a front boundary that does bring the chance of rain across parts of the south for the day on Thursday. Likely some scattered showers and thunderstorms. Mostly dry Thursday evening, and then as we head into Friday, we'll start off the morning dry, maybe a few showers near the Gulf Coast, and then another front starts to develop late Friday afternoon.
Weather Window, presented by the National Weather Desk.
Sometimes a bear needs to scratch an itch, like this one near Reno, with a multi-use back scratcher that doubles as a rich in fiber meal. How's that for a twofer? Also out west, this time in Oregon, sunrise behind the Cascades, and a look at mammatus clouds over Huntsville, Alabama, Wednesday morning.
Want to see your weather photos and videos on TV? Click Chime In on this station's website to share.
And California officials say this year's wildfire season could be busy. That's why they are taking action, hoping to get ahead of potential problems before they begin. Dave Alley reports.
With temperatures rising and grasses turning brown, it's a good indication firefighters are gearing up for what could be a very busy time in the months ahead.
When we look at the predictive models, we are preparing 2026 peak of the fire year as being a heightened fire season.
Due to conditions that have been in the making since late last year.
We have a large grass crop in San Luis Obispo County and Santa Barbara County due to the rains. So we're going to have a lot of initial grass fires.
To make sure everyone is ready and aware, California is holding Wildfire Preparedness Week with a message this year to prepare today, protect tomorrow.
We want to make sure everyone's preparing today to make sure that they're ready for the wildfire that's coming tomorrow. You never know when it will happen, and we want to make sure that your house is defensible and your neighborhood is defensible.
Something fire leaders emphasize is everyone's responsibility.
Preparedness is a force multiplier. So the more prepared we all are as a fire service, your communities, the county as a whole, the better we're going to have to respond and the more resilient we're going to be after a wildfire.
Making a series of homes or the whole community resilient is going to make the area, the community in totality more resilient from wildland fire.
A key message delivered at this event was the amount of coordination it takes to fight a wildfire. Here locally, the Santa Barbara County Fire Department and CAL FIRE SLO County each emphasized the close relationship those two agencies have developed with one another, which we saw in action last year during the Madre and Gifford fires.
We have a really strong partnership, and we always have, with San Luis Obispo County, because they're kind of looked at as one and the same.
Going into fire season, we are working together seamlessly with responses across county lines to help each other out along with our federal partners.
In other parts of the country, it's not just wildfire season they're thinking about. Portions of the Southeast and Gulf are preparing now for the June 1st start of hurricane season. Hurricane hunters touched down in Alabama this week to let residents know that now is the time to get prepared. Andrea Ramey has more.
This launcher.
Major Alex Boykin, a pilot with the 53rd Weather Reconnaissance Squadron, better known as the Hurricane Hunters, showed us how dropsondes are deployed into storms to collect real-time data.
They'll load it in, lock it down, and on the command of our weather officers sitting right here, they will be launched out.
Those devices help forecast a storm's track and intensity. Boykin's first flight was through Hurricane Dorian, a Category 5 storm that devastated the Bahamas in 2019. He also flew through Hurricane Sally as it made landfall in Gulf Shores in 2020.
And I was watching, our radar, everything I see up there, as it was hitting my house in Pensacola.
The flight is anything but smooth. While the center or eye of the hurricane is calm, the eye wall is a different story. Boykin says the C-130J can drop hundreds of feet in a second.
Absolutely can be a violent type of turbulence. Other times it's just plain rough, which we get used to.
In some cases, conditions are too dangerous to keep flying, like last October as the crew flew into Hurricane Melissa, which made a catastrophic landfall in Jamaica. It's one of 2 Atlantic hurricanes to reach sustained winds of 190 miles per hour.
Our crew, both us and NOAA, got into Melissa at that point and experienced such intense air trying to penetrate the eye wall. Once they got in the eye, they deemed it was unsafe to continue.
Fearing they'd lose control of the plane, the crew turned back. Boykin says technology continues to advance, with AI models now using the data they collected in flight to improve forecasts.
We still haven't developed drones that can get through an eye of a hurricane, through the eye wall. The cost of that is still so high, which is why you still have manned aircraft in 2026 flying into these hurricanes.
It's a mission with a life-saving purpose.
A lot of us flew combat prior, and this is the other side where we get to be here back at home with meaningful impacts to our friends, our communities, our families.
Boykin shared those stories and gave the public a rare look inside the C-130J during the Hurricane Awareness Tour stop at Brookley Field in downtown Mobile. National Hurricane Center Director Michael Brennan stressed now is the time to have a plan in place.
You want to know what your risk is now so that you're not having to scramble to make plans if a storm threatens, because along the Gulf Coast in particular, you can have a storm form, rapidly develop, and make landfall within just a few days. You might not have a week to watch a storm come all the way across the Atlantic.
And if you have been on a plane recently, you might have thought you were flying through a hurricane. That's because turbulence on flights is increasing. Meteorologist Emily Gracie spoke with an expert about how the warming climate is making for a bumpier ride in the sky.
There's been work done by my colleague Paul Williams at the University of Reading, who he's shown that convincingly that turbulence has been going up quite a bit, perhaps as much as 50% in the mid-latitudes. That is where a lot of the airplanes fly, say from across the Atlantic, from North America to Europe. Severe turbulence has increased about 50% since the late 1970s to now.
I know there's different types. Can you tell me the different types and how they occur?
There's lots of different kinds of turbulence that occur on an airplane, and turbulence is just in-flight bumpiness. It's as simple as that. It's defined by the experience of the pilot or the passengers. On a sunny day, you can have air thermals, warm air moving up and down in the atmosphere, and that will make your plane move up and down. The more severe kinds of turbulence are often associated with wind blowing over mountains. And so in the end, it's something that we can't directly simulate in today's computer models. So we forecast it by larger scale properties of the atmosphere that we can simulate.
Can you tell me about what this does to a plane?
Very, very rarely do you have an airplane affected by turbulence to the extent that the airworthiness is threatened. In other words, turbulence isn't going to knock a plane out of the sky, but it is scary because you're trapped on the airplane and you don't know what to do. Keep your seatbelt fastened. That will keep you from being thrown around if, in the rare case of severe or extreme turbulence, you start to pull G's, and so you fly up or you're slammed down in your chair. Most of these turbulence events last a very short amount of time because the pilots get the heck out of it as soon as they're in it. So they either climb or descend or do something to avoid the region.
And as we head to break, we take a smooth flight over the Swiss Alps.
Well, a very good Thursday morning, everyone. I'm meteorologist Andrew Buck-Michael. Most of the Midwest dry today. We got a few spotty light rain showers, but generally pretty dry for most of us across the Midwest with high temperatures in the 60s and 70s for a lot of us. A little cooler closer to the Great Lakes. For the day tomorrow, we do have some scattered rain kicking its way back in across the southern part of the Midwest. And as we head towards your Saturday, that shifts more towards the Ohio Valley and out of here.
Good morning, I'm meteorologist Alex Garcia. Here's a look at your regional weather. Boy, feels like winter up in Amarillo, 38 degrees, 47 over in Oklahoma City. But you get down to Brownsville, 79. We're in the 70s out toward Louisiana. Weak cold front heading south, some leftover showers moving through the Texas Hill Country and down to the south. Otherwise, it'll be a little cooler and more comfortable day. I'm meteorologist Alex Garcia. That's a look at your regional weather.
You are watching the National Weather Desk.
Well, spring is hail season, but what exactly is it and how does it form? Meteorologist Lindsay Storrs has the answer.
This is the time of year when thunderstorms begin to form in many places around the United States. These thunderstorms, of course, produce lightning. They can produce heavy rainfall and hailstones as well. So today I wanted to talk about how hailstones are formed. It all has to do with updrafts. That's air that gets pulled into the core of the thunderstorm. And that can take raindrops and push them higher into the thunderstorm cloud above the freezing level. This, of course, freezes those raindrops. And then what happens is you've got other little water droplets up there that are below 32 degrees, but they're still in liquid form. And so they instantly cling to that little hailstone that is formed. That hailstone continues to go up and down in the thunderstorm cloud as long as that updraft is strong enough to hold it up there. But as soon as the hailstone gets too big for that updraft, too heavy, that hailstone falls to the ground. And that is how you get hail this time of year and into the summer months in many places around the United States.
Thank you so much for joining us. I'm Angela Brown. Make it a great day, and I'll see you right back here tomorrow.